Guys, welcome into a quick little college football video. Now, the name, image, likeness stuff is completely off the rails. There's no policing it. Schools are doing whatever the hell they want, and it's creating really just bad situations for college football. And the most recent one involves the transfer portal, involves Jordan Addison, one of the best receivers in college football, who went to Pittsburgh University. They did all the right things. They developed him. Kenny Pickett, they had that great season last year. And now you take a look at these tweets. Jordan Addison rumored to be receiving over $3 million plus a house in SoCal from USC boosters via NIL funding vehicle. If true, he'll make more than Steelers' second-round wide receiver pick and have a 2022 compensation package on par with Kenny Pickett, the 20th overall pick in the NFL. Was this the intent of name, image, likeness? So it's clear at this point, since there's no cap, since there's no regulation on what any of these boosters do, however much money they spend, many of these boosters have gone completely overboard. And this is a one-and-done transfer, Jordan Addison. They're getting Jordan Addison for one season, then he's going to the NFL. He's being mocked in 2023 drafts at like number 14, number 15 overall. He was voted best receiver in college football last year. This isn't like some five-star who's got 3 years of eligibility left, a huge transfer that you're going to have for multiple years. This is 1 year of Jordan Addison, and you've got USC spending over $3 million to entice him to leave Pittsburgh, and it's just so sad and so demoralizing. If you are Pittsburgh, sure, you lose Kenny Pickett, but you bring in Slovis, the transfer QB from USC. You would still have Jordan Addison for his junior year. He would go to be a first-round pick. You would get that publicity of having, a first-round receiver pick from Pittsburgh. Instead of all that, Jordan Addison's basically a finished product. He transfers for 1 year, goes to USC, plays with Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, and then is a first-round pick, and he's remembered for being on USC. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely backwards. And the problem is there's no leadership in the NCAA. So it's the Wild West times 10, because there's zero regulation and these boosters are spending crazy amounts of money. And I know the common talking point is that, the kid is worth whatever someone's going to pay for him. I understand that, but at the end of the day, we have to start thinking. You take a look at a program like Texas A&M. You take a look at what happened with Tennessee and the five-star quarterback who's like the number 6 overall prospect in the country committed to Tennessee. You think that's a little strange? Well, it turns out the kid got an $8 million NLI deal, multi-year NLI deal from Tennessee boosters. He's going to Tennessee because they paid the most, not because that's the best situation for him, not because that's where he's going to get developed the most. And it's a major issue. 16, 17-year-old kids, you want to say, oh, give the kids freedom. Let them, know their worth. Let them get paid. Take a look at Texas A&M's defensive line class. In 2022, they signed about 4 or 5 stars. I believe 7 total top 100 prospects along the defensive line. Do you really think that was the best decision for all of those prospects? No. It's just Texas A&M promised me $1 million. Another school only promised me $500K. I'm a 16-year-old kid. I don't make the best decisions, right? These are 16-year-old kids. We're expecting to make these decisions. They're always just going to go to the school that pays them the most because all they see is what's next. They don't think 3 or 4 years down the line when I'm an undrafted free agent because I went to Texas A&M and I had to sit behind 4 or 5 stars when I could have been a second-round pick and gotten a nice, 4-year rookie contract if I would have went to a different school to be developed properly. They don't think like that. We're letting 16, 17-year-old kids make decisions, and all the kids are doing is who's going to pay me the most. This 5-star quarterback is going to Tennessee because they paid him the most. That's why he's going. Is that right? Is that what's best for his development? And then people say, let the kids do what they want. Yes, but again, you are indirectly hindering these kids when you let them do what they want because they're so ignorant. They're just going to go to whoever pays them the most, not go to the school that's going to develop them the best. And this Jordan Addison situation is different because he's not a recruit. He's already practically developed. He had an unbelievable year last year with Kenny Pickett. And now $3 million for a one-year transfer. There is no regulation. There's no salary cap on any of this crap. So boosters have completely gone crazy. And the main schools that are completely out of their minds right now when it comes to spending money on recruits, on these kids, USC, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida's getting involved. Those are the main schools that are just absolutely. Alabama paid $1 million for Eli Ricks, the transfer from LSU. Alabama paid $1 million. Now Alabama, apparently Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson are not paying recruits because there is the thought if you start paying a 5-star recruit $1 million, that could really F up your locker room and your culture, as opposed to Texas A&M paying, $25 million for their 2022, recruiting class, which turned out to be the best of all time. Their best recruiting class ever ranked in history. And again, the point that I'll keep stressing is you're telling 16-year-old kids, the one thing you're arguing is let them have freedom to make their decision. Let them have freedom to know their worth. The kid who's 16 years old, more times than not, is just going to go to the place who pays him the most, not where he's going to get developed the most, to where he could be a higher round draft selection. So to me, this whole thing is a train wreck. The transfer portal is a complete train wreck. I understand it is hypocritical to make kids sit out a year when coaches can just leave. We saw what Brian Kelly did. It was horrible. Ideally, I would love if they brought the rule back to where you made a kid. If you're going to transfer, you need to sit out a year. But that is something that's very hard to argue right now, especially with how Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, where they were still in the playoff race to the last game of the season, and it was announced he was leaving. That's how bad it was. So it's very tough to make that argument, but I don't know the other, how many kids are transferring at this point? How many kids are in the portal? And the name, image, likeness stuff, the main problem is there's no leadership within college football. There's nobody to police any of this stuff. And these numbers, it's what they're going to pay. They want a successful team so badly, they will pay over $3 million. They will give a kid a house. The kid's going to be there for 1 year. This isn't like a 5-star recruit. At least Texas A&M is bringing in multiple 5-star recruits. You're going to get them for at least their freshman, sophomore, and junior seasons. I don't think any of it's good. But again, if you're arguing let the kids do what they want to do, the kids should have freedom to go get their worth and things like that, you also have to understand these are 16-year-old kids. They're not going to do what's best for them. They're going to go to get paid the most right now. I'm 16 years old. Texas A&M is offering me $600K. A&M or Ohio State is only offering me $100K. I don't care that I could be developed at Ohio State and become a first-round pick. I want to get $600K right now. I want that money right now. So we're indirectly hurting these kids' development by allowing this name, image, likeness. The 5-star quarterback going to Tennessee. Why are you going to Tennessee? Because you got $8 million, an $8 million NLI contract. You're not going to be developed by Tennessee. Come on. I understand if the talent is good enough, you could have success at any school. I get that. But just in terms of risk factor, you would want to go to a program if you are a 5-star quarterback like an Alabama, like an Ohio State, like a Clemson, programs that have pumped out multiple first-round prospects like a USC. Lincoln Riley is great with quarterback development. But overall, guys, this name, image, likeness stuff is just such a mess. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is the different strategies that colleges are taking. You've got programs like Clemson, like Ohio State, and like Alabama. Now, the thing with Alabama is they will pay for transfer portal players. They gave Eli Ricks, who's a 5-star transfer, they just got the cornerback, they gave him $1 million. But when it comes to these recruits, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, they're a lot more reluctant to give you a massive NLI deal because they think it will affect their locker room culture. Now, what Ohio State, Alabama, and Clemson pitch, they pitch to you that when you come here, play well, you can get any name, image, likeness deal and you'll make a lot of money. It's what happened to CJ Stroud. It's what happened to Trevion Henderson, two Ohio State players who have multiple NLI deals now since coming. They didn't get NLI deals when they were being recruited. They came. Trevion Henderson had an amazing year as a true freshman. CJ Stroud had an amazing sophomore year. You get the major NLI deals with Columbus and you can make a ton of money. So it's very interesting. And then you've got programs like Texas, Texas A&M, USC. They're ready to play ball. They're ready to pay a 5-star recruit $1 million. They don't care because it's the Wild West. There's no regulation. Nobody's going to stop them. They know nobody's going to stop them. Originally, NLI was intended to be more of what's going on right now at Ohio State, at Alabama, to where you don't get paid to commit to a school. You commit to the school, then you have a good year, and that's how you get paid. You don't get paid off the fact that you're a 5-star recruit, but what's happening is, let's say you've got a 5-star defensive end, you're just going to have Texas A&M come up to you and say, you want to come to Texas A&M? We will structure you an NLI deal. We'll give you $1 million your freshman year. We'll give you $1 million your sophomore year. We'll give you $1 million your junior year. And the reason they structure it like that is because of the transfer portal. You can't just tell a kid, here's $3 million, commit to my school, because the kid could leave in a year. And obviously with the transfer portal, it's so attractive for any kid, if they're not a starter, going into their sophomore or junior year, just to leave because you don't have to sit out a year. So it is a complete mess. They made this NLI thing seem so amazing for the athletes, and it's so great. But actually, it could be a detriment to some of these kids. I'm not saying kids shouldn't get paid. You know your worth. But at the same time, the kids are choosing what school is going to pay them the most money right now, not develop me, make me better so I can be a first-round pick and get a really good contract and be set up for my future profession in the NFL. I want to be paid right now. I want my $1 million right now as a 16-year-old. And then you also have to factor in, how are these kids going to spend this money? I mean, when I was 16 years old, I was an idiot. I'm still an idiot. But I was even more stupid at 16. So oh my God. And it's like, yeah, let's give a 16-year-old kid $3 million it's just, you would like to structure it to where maybe that money goes into something and he can't access it until he's 18 for his safety, trust me, the way kids spend money nowadays. But this stuff is so bad. And I think I had a tweet here that I want to pull up. This is a tweet, and this stuff is so mind-blowingly stupid. Kind of wild that Jordan Addison has become the first player to receive money from boosters to attend their school. Are you kidding me? You're really saying this is exactly how it's always been? This is the Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher argument. Jimbo, Texas A&M has never had the #1 ranked recruiting class any year in the history of recruiting rankings, and the first year of name, image, likeness, they not only signed the #1 class in the nation, they signed the highest rated class in history, but it's been happening forever, right? Oh, this has always been happening, right? Give me a break. We all know kids at certain times were compensated, were boosted a little bit to go to a certain school. But this is a completely different animal, where you've got a kid who's a one-and-done transfer getting $3 million and a brand new house on the Californian, beachfront property or whatever, to go play for 1 year for USC. This is completely different. That is a total false equivalency. This idea that Texas A&M fans want to talk about, this has been happening every single year. Then why the 1 year they put NLI in is your class finally #1? Do you have the greatest class in recruiting history? Because it's not the same. It is so much more prevalent with almost every single recruit now compared to how it was. So this stuff is really hurting college football, and the main problem with college football, there's no leadership, there's no regulation. Ideally, what you would want is you would say, listen, we have a committee that is going to crack down on this crap, And you cannot pay kids simply to attend your school. The kid must go through a recruitment process with no money involved. No money involved. He's going to commit to the best school where he thinks. Now, could the potential NIL deals, in the future affect where he chooses? Yes. But in terms of giving these kids straight up contracts just because they're a 5-star and you want them to commit to your school, that is horrible for college football. And then again, this Jordan Addison situation is different, but it's even more crazy because the kid is going to go to the draft after next year. They're paying him $3 million for 1 year. For 1 year. Think about what they're giving 5-stars. Think about what the Tennessee 5-star quarterback for 2023, he got an $8 million deal over the course of multiple years, apparently. An $8 million NIL deal. It is ridiculous. These kids are not choosing what school is best for them. They're going to who's paying them the most, which will hinder their development and hinder their future. And I feel so bad for Pitt. I feel so bad for Pittsburgh Panthers fans. You recruit this kid. He's a solid 4-star prospect. You get him committed. Kenny Pickett has a crazy breakout season. You know what I also feel bad for Pittsburgh fans? That Kenny Pickett sat out of the New Year's Six Bowl, the Peach Bowl, I think it was. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. I hate that. Pittsburgh finally makes a New Year's Six Bowl and the quarterback sits. It's cowardice. Oh, but he's got to protect his draft stock. Yeah. You know what? Maybe he should sit out NFL games to protect his next contract too. Come on, folks. You only live once. You're a college football player playing in a New Year's Six Bowl. Play the damn game. You're perfectly healthy. Oh, it's easy for me to say. I don't have millions of dollars on the line, right? You only live once. Play a damn good college football game. I think that's ridiculous, man. Come on. You're the quarterback. But either way, guys, with Pittsburgh, I feel so bad for them. They do everything right. They develop this kid. They go through all the process. He's going to be a first-round pick. You're going to have him for next year with a new quarterback. You've got some potential in a watered-down ACC. And you know what? USC says, nope, we're just going to buy him from you. This is how college football works now. Yay! I love college football now, guys. It's so amazing. USC did such a great job recruiting Jordan Addison. They completely deserve him. This is awesome. This is not going to hinder kids' development. The 5-star quarterback that's going to Tennessee, he went because he wants to be developed by the best. And Tennessee is the best, right? Oh, man. Guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.